PlayStation VR sales are being reported on as of late because research firm SuperData first thought that Sony would sell 2.6 million PlayStation VR units in 2016, but now downgraded that statement to 750,000. It's still better than the forecast from other headsets like the Vive, which should sell 450,000 units in 2016, and the Rift, which is basically at 355,000. But the Gear VR is sitting at 2.3 million, which is of course accounted to because of the fact it has a low price, and they give it away to many Samsung Galaxy S7 buyers. So
yes.
Good news, bad news. I think this is bad news, at least for the first wave of VR. I think the second wave of VR is when it's going to become mainstream, and that will come probably about 5 years once we're able to make the headsets wireless and have batteries that last long enough to where that's actually fully capable. But yeah, I mean, it's not like doom and gloom for VR in its entirety. I think it's just doom and gloom for the first wave.
Yeah, totally. And I think that this is the time that they should sell, right? With Black Friday and with like the holiday and stuff like that. So to have 700 or 750,000 units for the PlayStation VR from 2.6 million. I mean, I think that in January, February, March, it will not suddenly go up. So this is like not very good. On the other hand, Sony is, from what we know, they're happy with it. It's on track with their expectations. So the SuperData thought, okay, Sony is probably gonna push it in the holiday really bad. And the launch lineup was of course pretty great for the hardware. But yeah, they thought Sony is gonna market it everywhere, and yeah, in fact they didn't. They are like pretty held back, and that's also, and that's what the SuperData also noted, because there's no competition. Microsoft doesn't have a VR headset. Nintendo is far from having a VR headset, so why should they push it when the Vive and the Rift is totally for a different audience? I mean, that audience needs a huge PC, and it's of course way more expensive. So the PlayStation VR is for a totally different audience, lives on its own right now. So maybe when Microsoft comes in with some Oculus integration in their Scorpio or something like that, then Sony needs to worry. But right now, they just sit back, make a profit on every headset they sell, and it's not very good for the people that bought it right now. But on the other hand, you probably knew this when you were like getting into this, that this was the first run. And usually with technology that is like the first gen, it's always like, it could be something very special, and it is. VR is pretty cool, but probably the second wave, the third wave, where it will shine.
Yeah, it really hurts that tech enthusiasts like myself don't care for VR right now, because it's not near ready to be consumer friendly at all. Like, even just the setup of it is not consumer friendly at all. I mean, I could do it easily. There's a lot of people who can, do it. It's very annoying and tedious, especially if you get into like the Oculus or the Vive, at least the Oculus with the touch and all of its cameras, and then the Vive with all of its cameras. And I mean, even with the PlayStation VR, I mean, it takes up a lot of room, there's a lot of cords, and it's just not really that intuitive. I mean, what people want is they want either a wireless setup where you have a receiver that you plug in somewhere and it just connects to it and it's able to sense everything, maybe even 2 receivers if need be, and then they just have a completely wire-free experience with a headset, or they just want to basically be able to set it up with 1 cord and that's it, where instead it's numerous amounts of cords and it's really annoying. So it really comes down to the fact that it's too early for it to succeed on a mass scale. And that shows just by the interest within the Gear VR. Of course, Galaxy S7 buyers did get it for free, but there was a reason why I wanted an S7. It's because I did get a Gear VR for free, and I did want to test out VR a little bit. But I probably would have got a Gear VR anyhow, because it definitely was the cheaper option. Especially now, you could buy the first generation for about $50, and that's very friendly for people who want to sort of dabble with it in a small scale experience, but it's still viable enough to sort of see what it's all about. And so once we get, 5 years down the road, and 5 years is a lot of time for those listening who may not think that, especially for technology, things are going to just completely develop and get to a point where the next generation of headsets that release at that time are going to be far more advanced. They're going to work far better with what technology is available at that time, which will probably be the Scorpio, maybe the PS5, and essentially will allow VR to succeed at a much greater extent.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, next 5 years, that's when we should look for VR to really become mainstream, because people want a very, very intuitive and very great experience, unless they're just not going to go full on with VR, especially when Sony's messaging was, buy a PlayStation 4 Pro for better VR. Well, what's everyone going to do during Black Friday? They're not going to buy a VR headset. They're going to buy the Pro first and wait for the PSVR later. So that's another bad thing that Sony did during the holidays, but it makes sense because it will in the end provide a better experience. So it's a good thing that they're basically being honest about that.
Yeah,
so
it just sucks right now for people that bought the PlayStation VR now. And I mean, if developers look at, I mean, this super data prediction, of course, you should not base your development as a developer on that, or your but still, from 2.6 million to 750,000 is a significant. It's 2 million, almost a 2 million drop. So for developers, it could be scary. Okay, we have a potential audience of 700,000 people, and we need to sell 30,000 copies of our game, or maybe more, because VR games are more expensive to make, I can assume, because of course have to make a 360-degree thing. You have that going on. So this is interesting, and I hope that developers will continue to push it and that Sony will continue to invest in it, but we will discuss that later as well.